Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our next webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly as part of our Roadmap to Recovery series. And I'm delighted to be joined today by two of the leaders of Intrepid. So we have James Thornton, who is the CEO, and he's joining us all the way from Australia, and also Zina, who is the Managing Director for Europe, Middle East and Africa. So good morning, both of you. Thank you for joining us. And you're joining us particularly today because you have some exciting news to announce. So, James, why don't you tell us what it's all about?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Lucy. Great to be with you again. So we're very excited. It's been obviously the most challenging year for everyone in travel. But what we've been trying to do at Intrepid is to try and look towards the future. And as we prepare for a gradual and sustainable recovery, we wanted to continue to evolve Intrepid's style of travel. So what we're announcing today is that we're launching a new style of travel. It's called Intrepid Premium. Premium is a range of about 70 new tours across 40 countries. They offer a higher standard of accommodation, about 4 to 4.5 stars, exceptional on-trip experiences, private transport, and first-class travel. And like all of Intrepid's products, they're designed to minimize your environmental footprint and really benefit the communities that you're visiting. So it's great to have some exciting new product to launch and look forward to be selling in the UK market.
Oh, well, it does sound exciting. Well, Zina, perhaps you can give a bit more meat on the bones then. So is this something that your customers were sort of asking you for, or did you just see this as an opportunity to sort of widen your target market? Tell us who this is going to really appeal to.
Actually, both. We've heard for many months now that our agents have customers that would like to travel more sustainably, love our company ethos and responsible credentials, but we're looking for a bit more comfort. We also see that the baby boom market is a very large one in the UK. It's 60% of the spend. It's also probably the first one that will rebound, that will travel or at least start to book a holiday. And we also seen a shift towards booking in smaller group. And so we see a lot of different opportunities here, and also talking a lot with our travel agents and partners that it is definitely an opportunity for them that we're bringing a product that is an Intrepid style, but in much higher end accommodation and experiences.
Okay, so talk to us about that then. The USPs then are around accommodation, experience and service, I guess, but we're not talking about a luxury product here, are we? It's just a slightly, more comfortable with that. Would that be right, James?
Yeah, I think so. Slightly more comfortable, Lucy. I think what we're seeing is we've got lots of customers out there, like Zina talked to, baby boomers, but they're looking for not necessarily the kind of traditional hand-holding you might get on some of the other types of travel experiences out there, but they want to get under the skin of a destination. They want to meet the local people, they want to try the local food, they want to have different unique experiences, but at the end of the night they want to be making sure they can stay in centrally located boutique type accommodation, make sure they're having first class transport through a country. So they still want to have an adventuring experience, but make sure they obviously have that softer, more comfortable landing at night, and also do so in a sustainable environment as well. It's increasingly a reason for purchase for many consumers out there. Issues around the climate that people are increasingly concerned about, and when they spend their dollars, they want to make sure they're doing it with travel companies that are truly sustainable. And as a certified B Corp, we think we stack up on that front.
And you say it's increasingly a customer choice to travel more sustainably, and certainly from the research we've seen that the pandemic has accelerated that. I don't know whether people have just had more time to think about what they were doing before and how when they come back they want to perhaps be a bit more responsible. But is that something I imagine you've been sort of looking into that as well. Is that something you've noticed as a trend?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're seeing a trend of consumers being very aware around issues of the climate, and they've seen that people haven't been able to travel, and some of the impacts that have happened as a result of people not being able to travel. And in certain places that's been positive, hasn't it? Indian villages being able to see the Himalayas for the first time in 20, 30 years, and you can often see some of the negative connotations of travel. So that when people are able to travel again, they want to make sure they're doing so in as sustainable a way as possible. And fortunately, it's something Intrepid's been doing for 32 years. And increasingly, I guess it's moving from becoming a niche to becoming a more mainstream way of traveling. And that's very exciting for us to be able to take advantage of and provide great experiences for the travel agent partners that we have in the UK market.
Yeah, well, you're definitely well set for that. So talk to us, Zina, about, I mean, presumably this is going to carry a higher price point, will it? Because you're offering more in that program. So can you just talk to us about that, what agents should expect in terms of pricing and or value? What do they get within that package?
Well, they get a trip that have much more inclusion than normal Intrepid trip. All breakfast will be included, around 40% of meals. In addition to that, there will be more experiences as well in the trip, and obviously the accommodation level is going to be the highest one across all Intrepid trips. We have trip prices going really from £180 a day to up to £500 a day, depending on the destinations. The more expensive one will be places like Japan, and maybe the more affordable one will be places like Egypt or Vietnam. So there's really for all type of budgets, but it's the value for money is actually quite there, given all what's included in, as well as in terms of the service. We've got obviously Intrepid leaders, running the tours, but we are scheduling the most experienced one. As well as and our ground operations, as you know, we've got DMCs everywhere we operate trips that are 24 hours, 7 days, supporting our teams on the ground for that extra level of service when needed. So, I think it's quite a good value for money for a trip like this. And some of the experiences are really, really exciting to know, very authentic, immersive, as James said, under the skin of the destinations, quite unique, and some features or some feature experiences do not exist in any other Intrepid trip. They're only on the premium branch.
I was going to ask that actually. Yeah, so there's some things in premium that you literally couldn't get unless you book a premium trip.
Definitely, experiences and accommodation. As an example, we've got this accommodation in Uzbekistan, which is an old madrasa, which is like an Islamic school that has been repurposed, reconverted into a hotel, a boutique hotel, where you literally, guests literally stay the night in a student's room that have been refurnished and repurposed to hotel rooms. And that type of unique accommodation do not exist in any other Intrepid trips. And then, a lot of experiences are run or operated around community-based tourism, experiences that we've got on the ground. We've got some unique experiences in, for example, in Cambodia, where we have a whole journey that we used to operate. A lot of companies will operate as a flight. We'll actually do it in a long boat for a few hours. That is actually much slower pace, but much also immersive into, looking into the culture, the villages that we go through during this journey. So a lot of things in the itineraries have been designed for making the experiences a premium one over everything.
Sounds amazing. I'm already tempted. So look, you launch it today, and does that coincide with sort of, information out to your travel partners then? Because, they've got educated on what you do so far, but I guess this is another whole program they've got to sort of learn about. Are you going to be sort of communicating all this to the trade?
Sure.
Either of you can take that.
You're the boss, Zina. You go.
Yeah, no, sure. There'll be extensive, amount of webinars and trainings. We're actually launching a competition today as well. We want to give the opportunity to agents to enter a competition and perhaps win a trip to the first ever premium departure to Morocco. So we are getting them to enter the competition by committing to receive a training on the premium trip first, and then the first premium booking, they'll be able to enter the competition, and then 10 of them will win a trip, including flights return from the UK to join a Morocco premium trip.
Which sounds incredible, and that's launching today as well. So agents watching this, make sure you get trained and hopefully make some bookings. So when is your first departure, James?
So our first departures kick off from next January. So it's a long kind of booking and lead-in time in terms of when we start to get the trips operating. But again, we've got that big education piece to work through, and critically kind of trying to highlight what Intrepid Premium is, and obviously what it isn't as well. It isn't luxury, it isn't 5-star, it's not big chain hotels. It is very much that kind of small, unique boutique experience that Zina talked to just then in Uzbekistan, places that you wouldn't otherwise get the opportunity to visit in those kind of often larger groups, and hopefully give you a slightly more unique experience that you come home and talk about and share with your friends and family. So yeah, good kind of booking to lead in time, and hopefully that by then, or fingers crossed by then, we will be traveling a lot more freely.
Yeah, well, actually, that moves us on nicely, because I wanted to ask you, I mean, I know you're in Australia, James, you know, we're in the UK, but certainly with the vaccination rollout, things seem to be turning a corner. And again, it's very different in different countries.
Yeah.
We know that, the rate of it. But how are you, seeing demand? Are you seeing an uptick at all in the last sort of few months or so?
Yeah, I wouldn't say last few months, Lucy. I'd say in the last 2 weeks, definitely seen an uptick in demand. You know, January, February, still really slow, tiny amounts comparatively year on year. We have seen a bit of just change in momentum in the last 2 weeks, particularly out of the UK market. We're seeing web sessions up significantly when you compare it to February. We're seeing bookings up significantly compared to February, but it's kind of ridiculous when you talk to some of the percentage increases from February to March, because it sounds like we're booming. You actually can't go and compare it, not to this time last year, of course, because obviously crisis was just hitting, but when you go back to kind of March 2019, the numbers are obviously still very, very small. But we do feel we've come to the bottom of the trough. We do feel like we're starting to head out the other side. You know, we've got launches of these products like premium, launches of domestic product range. You know, we do think we'll see perhaps an Indian summer out of the UK market into Europe and the like. And yeah, we are starting to feel more bullish. So hopefully we'll continue. And, you know, the more we're seeing bookings uptick, the more that gives you a bit of confidence to spend a bit more money on marketing. And, you know, hopefully the kind of two things start to lead. Spend a bit more marketing, start to be able to get people moving again, start to get some momentum and confidence in terms of bookings. And, you know, this premium launch obviously is targeted at that 50, 60, 70s consumer. They're the ones being vaccinated at the moment, and hopefully the ones feeling most confident about getting out and booking and their travel experiences again.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely spot on. And Zina, you talk, I know, to the trade all the time in the UK. Are they sort of reporting back that customers are starting to at least think about where they might be traveling, even if they're not quite booking yet? But are you feeling it's a little bit more encouraging out there?
Yeah, no, it's definitely more encouraging. Again, we're talking, with smaller numbers, obviously, but last couple of weeks we've seen an uptake in domestic bookings in the UK for time, I want to say, because we've launched in June last year, as you know, and we had quite a good uptake on after that launch. But then all the restrictions and lockdown and all that happened have kind of made the whole process imposed. But since the last couple of weeks, we're starting to sell much more of the UK. We've got a lot of interest for active cycling trips, both in the UK but also in Europe. So we are really pretty much, this is pretty much where we're seeing the most amount of bookings for the shorter term. Longer term, we still have bookings for Q3, Q4, but also Q1 next year, which would be those sorts of bucket list destinations, longer haul. But for the shorter term would be more UK.
And are you sort of targeting, we're obviously looking at this May 17th date that we might be released and allowed to travel internationally. So is that when you're hoping to get your sort of domestic and your European trips back up and running?
Definitely. This is what we're preparing for. We're ready. We've got our teams on the ground. We're just waiting to know what exactly is going to happen. And then we'll push the effort wherever it's possible.
Of course. All right. Well, James, right at the start of this, you said, well, you've been concentrating on moving forward still, even though we're in a pandemic. And I know last week, there was some other news from you guys, because you announced a new investment into the business. Do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So last week we announced that Bencheikh, which is a French private family who make investments in a series of travel companies, invest a minority stake into Intrepid. We're obviously really excited to welcome a new investor in. It helps us for a variety of reasons. Clearly, there's supporting our balance sheet. Like any travel company, it's been a difficult ride, and that's for us. But we're probably most excited about the kind of growth and transformation that Bencheikh can help try and bring to us. They're very much geared towards growing the market, particularly being European based. We see a real opportunity in terms of being able to accelerate more of our European products, help us towards our ultimate goal of becoming the world's first billion-dollar adventure travel company. And we kind of think of it as a bit of a vote of confidence of the future of sustainable travel. You know, something that used to be, as I said earlier, considered a niche, it's now increasingly becoming a more mainstream style of travel. So to be working with Genergy kind of underlines our commitment to the European market, underlines their commitment towards their belief in growing the market for sustainable experience-rich travel, and you know, the balancing of being a B Corp as well. So yeah, we're really excited, and it'll be great to work together.
Well, it sounds really exciting on all fronts. You know, more investment, which is great, gives you a sort of solid foundation to move forward, and to move forward with some exciting new products. So we wish you all the best with it. Hope agents get behind it. We're running the competition in Travel Weekly, so we'll make sure everybody gets to see that, and hopefully gets a chance to win a place on that fantastic new premium trip to Morocco. So for now, I just want to thank you both and wish you all the best. So thank you to James and to Zina from Intrepid.
Perfect. Thanks, Lucy.